Well, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Full Credit to Not Another Sand and Smith Suck-Off podcast. I'm your special guest, former legend. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and that Barnaby Joyce platform that is Blue Sky at former_legend. And let's kick off with what caught my senses in the past 7 days, boys. And it was this podcast's very own Steve Silky Philpy Philp, who hates referees more than I hate salads, and has become Olympic standard in throwing out a number of ref faults throughout each night's loss. And despite his co-host Andrew Barney Barnett trying to be the voice of reason, except of course when it comes to women's sport, obviously, Silky applies immortal levels of referee bashing. So, as you'd expect, your old Uncle Former has come up with a solution moving forward to this referees crisis. Now, how's this for an idea? We're going to rank all the referees in the country from 5 stars all the way down to 1 star. And then we look at each week's draw, and depending on how much salary cap the two teams that are playing each other have left to spend, will they get an appropriate star-rated referee? So let's say the Dragons play the Tigers. Because we have heaps of money left over in the cap, we get the best of the best on-field referees, the best touchies, and the best video refs. But for a game like the Knights versus the Bulldogs, we probably get a 2-star referee, a couple of 3-star touchies, and some 50-50 merchants like Todd Smith up in the bunker. And for a game like the Roosters versus the Broncos, well, Stevie Wonder will be on one whistle, Ray Charles and Helen Keller will be working the lines, and Jose Feliciano will be working the VCR on a black and white TV back in the bunker. You're welcome, NRL, and if there's plenty more golden ideas like that, you know where to come. Anyway, enough of that. Time to do a rapid recap for round 21, which of course was Throw Your Toys Out of Your Cot round, where the NRL celebrated the repeated actions of Adam Douehi, who was dead set carried on like a barley copy watch whenever shit just doesn't go his way, and reckons he is within his rights to tell the head coach how to suck eggs, despite only playing 10 good games collectively over 50 years. Now, fans at each game last weekend were invited to throw their toys onto the ground at full time, the same way that Isaac Moses clients do whenever they want to break a contract. So let's start on Thursday night, when the Panthers held on to beat the Eels at Spurbank Stadium 24 points to 18. Penrith played 20 minutes of the match with only 12 men in this field. Silky Milky Jenkins was sent to the sin bin before the break for being too white, from best I can tell. And Isaiah Papali'i joined in on the pine-sitting action midway through the second half. Despite the advantage of facing just 12 Panthers, the Eels couldn't capitalise, mainly because there were still 13 Eels out in the field, and they're not much chop. Speaking of Milky, he scored his 26th try of the year, setting a new Penrith single-season try-scoring record, breaking a mark that has stood since 2003. Whilst it was the Eels' 12th loss of the year, diehard fans are still saying that their team can sneak into the top 8 if results go their way, and they win 19 of their last 6 games. They can mathematically finish in 8th spot. Friday, and the Roosters held on to beat a pretty stiff Newcastle Knights team 23 points to 22 at Gary McDonald Stadium. Once again, the Knights are showing that they just don't have the ticker to win these clutch games. This time, the 1-point margin goes along with their recent 3 losses of just 2 points. And it's fair to say the Knights thought Squid Games fan James Squiddy Squidesco was covered in funnel web spiders all night. He produced one of his finest performances of the season, scoring a hat-trick and proving almost impossible for Newcastle to contain around the middle of the field. His third try finished in support after a sharp Sam Walker pass that put Nat Butcher through a gap. That levelled the scores and completely changed the momentum of the game. For a side already missing Kalen Ponga and Dane Gagai before kickoff, the Knights added to their serious injury woes. Forward George Lucas dislocated his elbow, and then the $13 million man Dylan Brownstains blew his ACL. In salary cap terms, by the end of this game, the Knights had $18.30 worth of talent on the field. The second game on Friday was out at Empty Seat Stadium, where the Rabbitohs beat the Storm 28 points to 26 in one of the weirdest games you're ever likely to see. There were 11 tries scored in this one, and multiple lead changes, plus a dramatic finish as the undermanned Rabbitohs held off a Storm comeback to keep their finals hopes alive and likely end the Melbourne side's run to the semi-finals. In a game of so many tries, it makes you wonder how hard it could possibly be to be an NRL defensive coach. This was another game that featured a serious injury toll though. Harry Grant suffered a low-grade hamstring tear and Wayne Bennett tore his colostomy bag in the dressing rooms after the game. And the game was there to be won with 5 minutes left on the clock. Ashton Ward lofted a beautiful pinpoint pass out to Heather Graham, who crossed the line to put the Rabbitohs in front for good. South now sit in 6th place, skipping ahead of the plummeting Knights team, and it leaves many Bunnies fans thinking about Grand Final Day and how they can only hope that the Panthers beat the Roosters in the big dance. Saturday, and the Raiders got the rub of the green to hold out a fast-finishing Tigers team 56 points to 10 at GM Cold Stadium. In the end, it was a 10 tries to 2 shellacking to the Raiders, which sounds diabolical for the Tigers, but there were 2 tries from kicks, 3 had questionable passes, 1 had a dodgy put-down, and 1 began from an incorrect play of the ball, and the other one was from a player who began the play from an offside position. So when you look at it like that, it was really 2 tries apiece. A television camera captured Raiders coach Ricky Stewart appearing to warmly thank Tigers forward Alex Twal after the match. Obviously, he was thanking Twaley for slapping Jamin Salmon last week. Ricky Stewart later admitted he'd organised a drink machine contract for GM Cold Stadium to go to Alex Twal's company as a sign of appreciation. About the only thing that was more diabolical than Adam Doueihi's behaviour this week was Abby Coruscant arriving with newly bleached blonde hair. He dead set looked like the lead singer of Wah Wah Nee, and the change of colour didn't do anything for the fortunes of the Tigers. The second game on Saturday was out at Empty Seat Stadium where the Dogs beat the Warriors 18 points to 6 in front of 18,000 fans, or as I know it, 62,000 empty seats. Bulldogs coach Cameron Daddo made a massive call before kickoff by naming Clitter Clyton at 5'8", pushing special teams kicker Matt Burton out to the centres. And the move paid off with Clyton scoring the opener, setting up another and kicking an almost perfect 3 from 4 from the tee. While the Warriors rarely threatened all day, their one try was memorable after Mitch Barnett put in a chip and chase for Chanel Harris Farms to collect it and score. The play came at a cost though. Luke Metcalf is now their 4th choice half behind Barnett. The final game on Super Saturday saw the Cowboys beat the glamour side from Brisbane, the Broncos, 18 points to 10 at Queensland. Cunt. 24 down. 6 letters. Crustacean-like insect found around rubbish tips. Slater. Rebank Stadium. It wasn't a flashy performance, but it was built on resilience after the Cowboys lost lovable hooker Reid Marnie early, while Brisbane's attacking struggles continued in a result that effectively ended the Broncos' final hopes. Before a ball was kicked, North Queensland suffered a major blow when star co-captain Tom Dearden was officially ruled out with an ankle injury, forcing rookie Jackson Purdue into the halves. While there was unrest in the halves, the stunning specimen that is Jason Taumalolo wound back the clock, running for 198 metres and consistently bending Brisbane's defensive line with powerful post-contact metres. It was a kind of display that had lovers of old-fashioned strong running forwards harder than a cat's head. The win puts the Cowboys in 8th place, and with a bye up their sleeves and an easy draw, it looks like they are a lock for the final 8. Sunday saw the Titans blow the bye off the park, beating them 38 points to 18 at Future Housing Apartments Oval at Cogra. The afternoon was designed to be a massive celebration for Dragons veteran Clint Taurus Gutherson, who proudly walked out to play his 250th first-grade NRL match. However, by the end of the game, the man they call King Gutho looked as happy as Prince Harry, as his team had their pants pulled down at home, which sounds more like Prince Andrew's handiwork, to be honest. With the 20-point blowout victory, the Gold Coast Titans successfully created an 8-point buffer on the NRL ladder between themselves and the struggling Dragons, who remain anchored to the bottom of the table on 17th place. Thankfully, 2027 isn't far away with a number of new signings like Scott Bongwater, Colin Matungi and Metcalf. It's hard not to see the Dragons competing for 15th or 16th next year. And the final game saw the Sea Eagles went very well to get within 36 points of the Sharks at Foreskin Park, just losing 48 points to 12. The Sharks scored 8 tries to 2, cementing their place in the top 4, leading 30 points to 6 at half-time before pulling even further clear after the break. The game marked the Manly's 80th anniversary Golden Eagles round, and a crowd of 17,000 fans and 100 former club legends turned up to witness Manly chase their 1,000th club win and 500th victory at Brookvale Oval. And they got to see the team score 2 tries, but the Sharks scored 8 as Fosball lurches from one loss to another. You really have to feel for those flops that got the Fosball caps and T-shirts made up. You can expect to see them out at Parklea Markets next to the fake Jared Hayne 49ers jerseys in the coming weeks. Adding the injury toll at Manly, Ben Trbojevic was forced out of the game on the stroke of half-time. Making his highly anticipated return from a head knock he suffered 2 weeks ago, Trbojevic copped another heavy head blow and was prematurely ruled out for the rest of the game. So that's round 21 wrapped up, boys. A round where the Sea Eagles started missing Anthony Seibold, Adam Doueihi had a sickie, and the Broncos started planning for next year and how they're going to knife Madge Maguire in the off-season. Back to you in the Nathan Brooks Memorial Studios.